This is episode 10 of Talk Magic to Me for May 14th, 2014.
Welcome everyone to Talk Magic to Me, the critical Disney discussion podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Danielle.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Prince Eric.
And this is our second time around recording.
Yeah.
We sort of had a mess up before, but we're back on track now.
I pushed the wrong button.
Yeah, but it will all be good now because we had some issues before that we just fixed. So in the end, it was a good thing.
Yay!
Yeah. So you guys may notice that JD is not here today. The reason being is that we're recording the night before his graduation. Yay!
You should still be here.
I know.
Not
no
important
excuse.
at all.
No excuse for that, you know? Just ridiculous. I don't think he's as devoted as we are to this podcast.
No.
I'd give my right kidney to be a part of it. Oh, I missed last week.
Ew.
Sorry.
Yeah, how dare you?
Ew.
But I had good reason.
Yeah, that's true.
You need your kid. Please keep your kidney. You need your kidney.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Jen was in Disney World last time. I mean, that's not cool either. How dare you go without us?
Yeah, I know.
We should have all went and recorded live from Disney on Hollywood Studios' 25th anniversary.
Oh, yes, you're right. One day we will do that. But since you brought that up, I want to talk now about our contest. Because all you listeners out there, Jen has picked up our contest prize. Why don't you tell them about it, Jen?
Yes, our awesome contest prize.
Mm-hmm.
I got special limited edition 25th anniversary maps from Hollywood Studios and a pin, a 25th anniversary pin, which only could be picked up that day, and you can get them now maybe on eBay or something. And I'm looking, and they're like $10, and that's just now. And the rarer they get, and the more they get distributed, the price they'll be worth even more. So if you want to win a free 25th anniversary special edition map from Hollywood Studios, that when you open it up, it even has the old map from when it first opened, like a special area, and then it has the day's events and the special fireworks show times and just everything they had of that day, and the 25th anniversary exclusive pin. You can get both of those. You can win those if you enter our contest.
Yeah. That's an awesome prize, guys.
Very nice.
I think I want it. Can you send me one?
I would want that. I'm not going to lie. I would want that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Do you remember the 25th anniversary for the Magic Kingdom where they changed the castle to a giant cake?
I do. Everyone hates that, though. You
I
read
know.
the reviews and people are like,
Really?
oh, I hated when they...
I
people
remember
are
that.
angry.
I think because when it was 72, so it was summer of 1997. I remember going and seeing that. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing. It's giant cake.
I probably
think
would have loved it.
Yeah, but I guess if that's like your one and only time going, you want your picture to be of the actual castle.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess that's why, but I thought it was cool too.
Yeah.
And fun fact, whenever they opened Stitch's Great Escape, they like trashed the castle to make it look like Stitch like just ripped it apart and stuff. Like they had graffiti on it and toilet paper, and people were angry about that too.
Yeah, I never knew about that. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't think it lasted very long because people were mad.
It
was to promote that new ride.
I gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of Stitch's Great Escape.
No.
I've never been on it, so. Yeah,
when you do go back, you know, I mean, you can ride on it just to see what you think of it, but I personally wouldn't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Before, they had that alien encounter, which I wish I could have rode. I never had the
Yeah, apparently
chance.
that was too scary.
Yeah.
No, I never had the chance. It closed before I could. I went in 2001.
It's a shame that they couldn't like open that in MGM or Hollywood Studios or something, since it's more adult, I guess. But
I would love to. I wish they'd bring it back and maybe upgrade it or use some new technology or something. I would love to ride that.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. Mm-hmm. But what are the chances that they'll bring it back?
Probably zero.
Yeah.
Negative 0.
Yeah. So, it doesn't even exist. That's how much.
I know.
Yeah, so, I don't know. We'll see, but yeah, chances are limited. So yeah, that's our contest prize. So you guys be sure to enter the contest because it ends May 21st. Or, well...
No, I thought
no,
May
it doesn't.
16th.
Yeah.
It's my mommy's birthday.
Right, let me restate
Everyone can remember that because it's my mommy's birthday, so it's easy to remember a day.
Right, you see, I'm messing up already. The 21st is the day we're announcing the winner. So you'll hear that when our episode releases. But Jen's right, the 16th is when the contest ends. So that's 2 days after this episode of Dumbo releases. So be sure to enter and use the hashtag TalkMagicToMeContest, and that's the number 2, and that's on Twitter. You can also enter on Tumblr, and you put the tag TalkMagicToMeContest, the number 2. So be sure to do that right away, guys.
Yes, because who doesn't want a special 25th anniversary limited edition Hollywood Studios map and pin? Everybody, so get it. Get those billboards made, those commercials produced.
Seriously. I haven't seen one yet. What the heck?
I know. It should be up already.
Yeah, I'm a little ticked off, but whatever. So yeah, seriously, guys, that prize won't be available for long on that cheap price on eBay. Those prices will skyrocket once it becomes really rare.
Yeah, they're already $10 for like a piece of paper, so
right.
You want to get this. You want to win this contest.
So we got a little feedback that I want to read real quick. Because it has to do with the name of our podcast.
Oh, yeah, I heard this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
We got an anonymous question on Tumblr, and the anonymous person said, I just wanted to write and say that I love your podcast. I just wanted to let you know, I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I hear the name Talk Magic to Me, I always sing it in my head to the tune of Talk Dirty to Me by Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, but I want to know what you guys think. Is that weird? Thank you.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I don't even know that. I don't even know that song.
You better...
Actually, no, I didn't either.
Yeah, I know. You better go in. You need to go into a mental institution because that's just so weird. No, I'm kidding. That's not weird. I actually thought that too. I thought that we should have done a playoff of that as our theme song, except just say "Talk Magic to Me," but we can't do that for copyright reasons, apparently. So.
Right.
That's why we don't do that.
Maybe we're just really clever because it's stuck in this person's head apparently, so they remembered our podcast that way.
Yeah.
Well,
so
and
we're just being clever.
I think we were clever when we came up with this because originally our name was Talk Disney to Me, which more is like Talk Dirty to Me, but then we had to get rid of that for copyright reasons. And my friend at work. His name's Josh. He's gonna love I mentioned him on this podcast. He said to me, you should change your name. And I said to him, I was like, why? And he's like, well, it sounds really dirty, like, really sexual.
No,
I don't understand that.
I think just because it's Talk Dirty to Me and you're just changing one,
me.
I don't think that it's that.
No.
Yeah, but...
When I hear that title, I think of Tinkerbell and Pixie Dust and Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a riff off Talk Dirty to Me, though, when we first kind of thought of it, so...
I didn't know that. I never even heard of that song.
Neither, I've heard the phrase, but I've never heard the song.
that never even crossed my mind. That's interesting.
Yeah, so, good pickup, Anon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your contribution and your opinion. That's good. We love opinion.
We do. Yeah, any feedback is great feedback for us.
Yep, anything.
So, let's move into our This Day in Disney History segment, shall we?
I love this segment.
It's fun.
So, fun already. I'm having fun.
I know, this is going to be a really fun episode. So, in 1925, on May 14th, actor Alvin Epstein, hope I pronounced that right, the voice of the bookseller in Disney's 1991 classic Beauty and the Beast, is born. In New York City.
The book. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The books. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep. And then in 1942, Academy Award. Well, this is actually a sad one. Academy Award-winning composer and songwriter Frank Churchill passes away, and he was only 40, so he was really young. But he scored nearly 65 animated shorts including Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf for the Three
I
Little
used to
Pigs.
love that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And classic tunes like Whistle While You Work, Hi Ho, Someday My Prince Will Come, Baby Mine from Dumbo, and Little April Showers from Bambi.
I did think that sound, yeah.
Yeah, so.
I still love that one.
And then in 1944, George Lucas is born.
Ooh.
So now that he's a part of Star Wars, I guess I should announce that. He was born today.
That's relevant now, apparently.
Yeah.
It is. It very much is. And my last one is from 1971. And Walt Disney Productions releases the Aristocats in Argentina. I thought that was interesting. And it's their 20th animated feature.
Wow.
And this was actually the first feature that Walt didn't personally work on. He approved of it, but he never worked on it.
Huh.
So yeah. Those are my facts for today. So now, it's time to move into our next segment, Jen's Theme Park Corner.
Yay!
Yay! I know what you're going to say for this one. And if you don't, there's one thing that if you don't say it, I'll say it. But you probably will because you know everything. So
I don't know.
She knows all.
I might miss it. I don't know. But if I do, I have some weird, obscure things.
Ooh, okay.
But they're interesting. I think they're interesting. Instead of just my usual, oh, here's where you could find this. I have weird, obscure connections, which I'm kind of excited for.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. For my theme park corner for Dumbo, the first, most obvious one, the Dumbo ride, which is like rite of passage for every
I
kid
love the
to ever
Dumbo
go.
ride.
Yes, and as we all know, it used to be located in Fantasyland, but
Yes.
now it's in New Fantasyland.
Oh,
right.
In a whole new area, they got rid of Mickey's Toontown.
were you
Fair,
about
and
to say in a whole new world?
No, it was not. But I can.
But it
in
works.
a whole new world of Disney World, there's a section called Storybook Circus, which used to be Mickey's Toontown Fair, and that is where they put.
That.
That's where they moved the Dumbo, and they actually added another one. So there's 2 Dumbo rides to increase capacity, and they go in opposite directions. If I'm not mistaken. And they built this big what are they called? Big top, like circus big top tent for it. And they have like a extended queue line and interactive queue line. I've never done it because we don't really ride Dumbo when we go, but I know that they built a whole section for it, and the area is called Storybook Circus, which is obviously all Dumbo themed, which we'll get to. But first, I'm just talking about the Dumbo ride.
Yeah.
Dumbo can also be found in Fantasmic, like everything else. There's a little section of when he's in the bubble and their bubbles are going up, and him and that Timothy Mouse.
Timothy the Mouse, yeah.
Yeah, both of them, and it's when he's flying for the first time.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's quickly flashed through there. One thing which I was surprised, I never saw this movie before now, so I was surprised to find that Casey Jr. is from this movie.
Yeah.
And that boat, and there's a whole area in New Fantasyland called Casey Jr. Splash and Soak Station. It's like one of those areas where little kids can go and jump in the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, it's actually themed like the train with all the elephants and
I remember
giraffes and
that,
stuff.
yeah. I do remember that now.
Yeah,
Now that you say that.
They're in the train and stuff, and they're spraying water out of the trunk and all that. So that little area is in the New Fantasyland. And in Disneyland in California, they actually have a ride called Casey Jr. Circus Train, and I've never ridden it, so I don't know if it's a little kid's ride or not, or if it's a big train. I saw pictures of it though, and it doesn't look like it goes very fast. I don't know. It might be like the Brainstormer. Well, it's not the Brainstormer anymore. We changed the name. Something about Goofy now, but it might be something like that. But that's basically themed exactly like. Oh, I think someone's at my door. Okay, so then the next one is in the Main Street Electrical Parade. Casey Jr., the train is also there, and Goofy's riding the train, and it's actually a prominent float because it's pulling the float that has the title on it that says Main Street Electrical Parade. So
yeah,
it's one
on
of
the
the
drum,
first
yeah.
floats. Yeah, exactly, and the train is actually pulling that. So I never knew that was anything relevant. I just thought it was a train.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
neat.
guess-
So that Casey Jr. train is kind of everywhere. You never noticed it before.
Mhm.
Right.
Back to Storybook Circus. There is a area called Pete's Silly Sideshow,
Yeah.
which isn't a direct thing from Dumbo, but it's actually just a meet and greet for Mickey and Goofy and Minnie, whatever. It's just a replacement for the Toontown Fair area. But the voice actor who is in Dumbo, called Billy Bletcher, I believe his name is. He was one of the clowns, the voices for the clowns, and he voices the character Pete in the Mickey cartoons.
Oh, cool.
Which is what this Silly Sideshow area is based off of. So that's an obscure connection. And I don't know if you know the character that I'm talking about, Pete. If you just search Pete in Mickey cartoons, he'll pop up and you'll recognize him right away.
Yeah, he's the weasel. He's the big weasel, right?
Think Pete as Goofy's next door neighbor in Goof Troop.
Quite possibly.
Yes.
The Pete and his family in the Goofy movie with PJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a lot. I was trying to read up on him because I recognized him, but I didn't really knew what he was from. But he's in a lot of that stuff. Right. So the voice of one of the clowns in Dumbo is also the voice of him. And then there's Pete's Silly Sideshow in Storybook Circus. So it all kind of comes together. Also another little tidbit about one of the Dumbo ride. Timothy Mouse, he's kind of in the center of it.
This is what I was going to say, so you do know it like I thought you would.
He used to be holding a whip, and now he holds a feather.
Yeah.
What you're going to say?
I was going to say that he's in the middle and that he's holding the black feather.
Yeah. Well, it used to be he used to hold a whip.
To
get the Dumbos going, I guess. But that wasn't child friendly, I guess. So they gave him a feather instead. Because Dumbo already is holding the feather, I think, in his with his nose.
Yeah.
On the ride, I think. I don't know. Maybe not.
I never looked, actually.
Dumbo Circus, here he's coming. Does anybody remember that show?
I don't think so.
Look up Dumbo's Flying Circus on YouTube. It's the show from the 80s.
Oh, maybe not.
It's like the Alice in Wonderland show where she goes through it's like a teenage girl and she goes through her mirror.
Oh, yeah.
And the white rabbit is on roller skates.
Yeah, you did. I did look this up. You did mention this another time, I think.
Yeah.
When we were talking.
It's in the same vein as that show, Dumbo's Flying Circus.
Okay.
I remember that, yeah.
I'll have to put that in the show notes.
I've never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So now I'm gonna whenever I was watching this, I noticed a lot of voices in the movie that sounded very familiar.
One that I'm thinking that
yes.
you're probably gonna say first.
So I went through them and I found that James Baskett is his name. He voices one of the crows, and he's also the voice of Brer Fox.
Oh, cool!
That makes sense.
In Song of the South, which is also used in Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
And he sings Zippity Doo Dah and all those other ones. So he's that popular voice that sings those songs that I was just humming earlier in the podcast.
Really?
Yes, that's why I did it, because I knew that was in my theme park corner.
I thought that he was... Oh, never mind. I thought that the guy that was Uncle Remus sang Zippity Doo Dah.
I thought he did. Or maybe there's two versions.
Yeah, the one in Splash Mountain.
Okay,
sung by this character.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's another crow. Like, basically, the crows are Splash Mountain people. Another crow is Nick Stewart. He voiced one of them, and he's the voice of Brer Bear. Wow, try saying that.
It's probably the fat one. The really big one.
Yeah. One's the fox and one's the bear, and they're both one of the backup crows, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
Also, the lead crow was...
I'm getting there.
Okay. Just making sure.
I'm on Splash Mountain still. And in the ride in Splash Mountain, there is a hidden Dumbo somewhere in the ride. I've never seen it, but if you look it up, there is one. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that's a reference to these two people.
Maybe probably is.
Yeah, which is kind of neat. And then Cliff Edwards, who voiced the main crow. Jiminy Cricket, as we all know.
Doesn't he voice the...
You wouldn't know that if you... you can't really... It's not very obvious. It doesn't really sound much the same because he talks in a different dialect in this movie.
Right.
So unless you knew... I wouldn't have known that unless I looked it up, which I did.
I didn't think of it either. But, I mean, all these voices, they trigger something in your head, and you're like, wow, that sounds. I know I heard that person before.
Are you going to talk about the main stork?
Yes, that one.
I have three more.
Okay.
The stork is yeah.
The next one is Verna Felton, and she is the I didn't put who she played in the movie. The mother elephant and that older lady elephant.
Yes, I recognized her voice.
Yes. I looked her up because I recognized her voice. And her picture, I was like, oh, she was in I Love Lucy, which blew my mind. But that has nothing to do with this. The way it relates to the park is that she also voices the fairy godmother of Cinderella.
Oh.
The Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland. And Flora from Sleeping Beauty, which I recognized her from.
Mm-hmm.
And all those voices are used in the parks, in different shows, fireworks, parades. So we usually hear her voice a lot in the parks. You don't even realize it. The next one.
Wait, so you mean that like the off with their head? That was her.
Yeah, I guess.
There's a lot of voice actors Disney would bring back. In the earlier movies.
I just find that interesting that during Christmas, they have Cinderella's fairy godmother light up the castle. Mm-hmm. And they kind of use bits and pieces from the movie and her voices from the movie. And I just thought, wow, I hear this lady's voice all the time in the parks, and I never even noticed it before.
Yeah.
The next one is Sterling Holloway, who
voiced Thor,
one.
And he's the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, and who else? Who else?
The Snake in the Jungle Book.
Yes,
and
the
Cheshire Cat and Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, the Cheshire. I didn't know. You know more than I always think I'm going to stump you, and then I never do. Ka in the Jungle Book.
Wait, what's his name again?
Ka, K-A.
No, the voice actor.
Oh, Sterling Holloway.
Yeah, Sterling Holloway.
Actually, you probably do know this, but the current voice actor for Winnie the Pooh, Jim Cummings, also is the current voice actor for Pete.
Oh.
And
really?
Also the main guard in Aladdin, the one that always calls him a street rat.
Yes.
That's the same boy. Yeah, he does look up Jim Cummings. He does everything. He was voice of Cat and Cat Dog. He was was Darkwing Duck.
Doesn't he sing for Scar?
On the second half of Be Prepared, if you know that he's the one singing, you'll definitely know that it's him. After he says you won't get a sniff without me, you can. If you know that that's him, you'll definitely pick it out.
I'm going to be listening to Be Prepared tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, he does. There's a YouTube video of him at Comic-Con doing the Winnie the Pooh voice, but he's reading lines from Star Wars as Darth Vader.
Oh,
in the Winnie the Pooh voice, where he's like, "You are part of the Rebel Alliance, and you need." It's so because it's the Winnie the. It's the funniest thing.
Nice. I'm putting that in the show notes.
The guy who does in Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom, isn't that guy's last name Cummings? The guy who does that stuff. He does the pre-show. With the Cosby Show lady.
Yes. Oh, I forget his name. I don't even remember what he looks like.
Yeah, I thought his name was Cummings. Maybe not.
No,
I don't think it's the same guy, but I don't know.
But yes, Sterling Holloway did the original voice of Winnie the Pooh. Jim Cummings actually, that voice was, and he's also the stork, and he's also Ka, the snake in the Jungle Book, as Jen said. That was his natural voice. That was just how his voice was. Jim Cummings said that was actually one of the main things that got him into voice acting. I heard him told this story, was he was at a restaurant and Sterling Holloway was there, but he didn't know that was him. And he just heard him ordering food, and that was just his voice was the Winnie the Pooh voice. So I'll have the, whatever it is that he ordered. He thought it was the most, the most interesting voice he had ever heard, and now he does the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Well, that's, not to get too far off track, but also the guy who voiced Piglet, he's in the movie 12 Angry Men, the original black and white. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah. And also, if you remember The Emperor's New Groove, where there's the old man that he throws down, he's like, I threw off the Emperor's Groove. That was also the voice of Piglet.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. Dear.
I found the guy. It's not him. I don't know where I got Cummings from. His name is Wallace Langham.
Yeah, I looked him up as well, and I didn't recognize him.
He's from London, so he doesn't even have an accent. I feel like I've seen him in 1,000 things.
Me too. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
I recognized him, but I don't know his name or anything.
Yeah. He didn't seem to do anything else for Disney, so I guess that's not really relevant. Anywho's,
back on track.
My last thing I have, which is not too fascinating, but the lady who sings that Baby of Mine song, that Betty Knowles, N-O-Y-E-S, Knowles, she was the singing voice for Debbie Reynolds in Singing in the Rain. She dubbed her, which is a movie featured in the Great Movie Ride at Hollywood Studios.
Yes, it is.
And a little known fact about Singing in the Rain, it's about a lady being dubbed over. So that's so interesting that they dubbed over Debbie Reynolds, yet the movie is about, I forget her name, but I can't remember her name, but she gets she gets dubbed over because of the whole talkies are coming in, and she doesn't have a good singing voice, but she's a good silent star kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, that's ironic.
Yeah,
I digress. So that's like, so anyway, the Singing in the Rain is in Great Movie Ride. Yes. And that's all I have for my theme park corner.
Very nice. That was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very.
I always love talking about all the different voices that people do. And I was wondering, because the stork is really one of the first voices you hear in this movie, and as soon as I was like, oh my god, that's Winnie the Pooh. That's just the first thing I thought of. And then I looked up and it was Sterling Holloway, so that was him. I didn't
connect that. That's good though. I didn't even, the first one I recognized was the Brer Fox one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those ones I didn't really recognize.
Also, that was the voices of they're sort of, they were a gospel choir that was used for that. There was an actual gospel choir that was used for that song at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the singing in Ichabod Crane, that Sleepy Hollow, that cartoon. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of that, and I actually looked to see if it was the same choir that sang both, but it wasn't. And the choir that sang in Ichabod Crane didn't sing in anything else Disney related. So.
Yeah, that was Bing Crosby. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's also a whole backup
choir,
and I thought they might have crossed over, but
no.
All right, well, why don't we get into our conversation about Dumbo then?
Sure.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna give a little facts before we really dive into it.
Can I give one fact?
Sure, go ahead.
I really wanted to say this one. The name of the elephant is not actually Dumbo. That was his nickname. His name was Jumbo Jr. They just started calling him Dumbo.
I haven't seen this movie in years, and when I saw that, I was like, wait, Jumbo Jr.? Yeah.
They never, and the thing is that they call him Dumbo because they think that his ears look dumb and that he's dumb, but like that's the name, they make that into the name of the movie, and that like becomes his name when it was originally like meant to be insulting.
Right.
Yeah, which is kind of sad in a way.
Yeah.
He's known as that now.
It's a sad movie.
And I thought there'd be more, I thought the flying would have had more to do with the plot, since that's all you really know about him. I do anyway. Because I never saw the movie, I don't know anything. I just thought he was about flying. I'm surprised to see it wasn't. That didn't come to the last second.
Well, it's one of the shortest Disney movies. 64 minutes long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When it was made, it obviously was made after Fantasia, and Fantasia lost the company a lot of money. And so they wanted to make a movie that was cheap, and they wanted to make it fast. So the budget for this film was $813,000, and it took 18 months to make. And during when it was being made, there were a lot of, instead of the animators getting their bonuses, there were a lot of layoffs in the Disney company. So there was a huge strike, which they say that is incorporated into this film with the clowns talking about their boss and saying they want a raise and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it was a 5-week strike. And when the movie was released, it earned double for what it cost. It was a huge hit. And it was supposed to be on Time magazine in December 1941, but Pearl Harbor happened. So it kind of lost its, I don't know, it lost its spark, I guess, because of that. And that's when the U.S. obviously entered into World War II, which changes a lot in the film industry, but we will get to that with future Disney movies. Also, the crows in this movie are often said to be racist stereotypes.
Yeah, because of how they talk. Even though that they were they were actually the ones that helped Dumbo, and they were actually pretty nice to him compared to all the other people in the movie, and they were the ones that really helped him out. They're just the dialect and the way that they talked was seen, and much in the way of Song of the South, because that's one of the reasons why that's not made today, why you can't buy Song of the South now, is for the same reasons.
I was going to say those voice actors must be like, man, we keep getting the wrong movies and the wrong parts.
Seriously. Yeah, but, and we will talk more about that when we get to it, but yeah, that's a whole controversy. But it's interesting because when I watched that scene, I didn't think it was as bad as people make it out to be. What I thought was bad was when they are setting up for the circus and you see these African American men.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I thought that was worse.
Yeah, I thought that was much worse, but you never hear about that.
Yeah, so. I just thought, well, maybe it's just really dark outside and they're just trying to shade out the people, so just make them kind of shadowy because they're not the main focus.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. Maybe I thought that way a little bit.
I don't know what it really was, but they looked African American to me when I watched. But
quite possibly.
Yeah. So first of all, I have this on DVD, and when I put it in, I just wanted to tell you guys that when I clicked play, the first thing it showed before the movie was an ad about secondhand smoking, and it had Pinocchio, and it had Pinocchio, and it's like, secondhand smoke can, I forget what it said, like, leave a person feeling sick, and it shows Pinocchio and his face turning green.
Oh,
maybe they got backlash from that, and so they had to make an infomercial or like a little, what are they called? PSA, public service announcement.
Yeah, I guess so. Usually you see, like, the no copyright commercials before, but this one was different, so I just had to include that, because I was like, really? They still have these? Yeah. So then the movie starts with obviously the credits in the beginning, and we see the RKO again.
Yes. I was excited to see that.
I wonder how long they had... What is RKO again?
Well, it became Desilu. That's what I know. It's some kind of... Yeah, I just know it became Desilu, which I'm guessing in the 50s, maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know it's still before Disney has their own record company, I think. So, I think they use RKO for quite a bit.
Actually, ironically enough, me and my dad, I was telling him, I know all this random information now about these Disney movies from us. And when we were on the bus going to one of the parks, I think we were going to Hollywood Studios, I was telling him about RKO, and I was like, hey, did you know Pinocchio was made by RKO? And he's like, oh, I didn't know they did Disney. And so we had this whole conversation. So I am curious to know as well when the last movie was that they did Disney with.
It'll be interesting when we get to that point.
Yeah.
Because I think you are right, it's probably in the 50s. Either... I don't know about Sleeping Beauty, because that music...
Found it. It's from 1936 to 1954. They were partnered with Disney.
That makes sense, because with Sleeping Beauty, that's like the ballet. Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't have been an RKO. That would have been probably something separate. And then Disney...
I wonder, at 1954, is that when RKO went to Desilu? Quite possibly.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, I was happy to see that. Still see the connection.
Yeah.
And I loved the intro credits for this. I loved how vibrant the colors were.
I liked the Circus Calliope music. It was really, it didn't just, it was really different. Yeah.
It was really different. Very historical.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So then we see the storks coming, and it says they come no matter what through the rain and storms. I forget the lyrics, but that was the general idea.
Yeah. How do you think about like I guess this was in a time when the stork like story was still actually seriously told to children.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why they used it, but it was just like all about like it's basically telling kids like it was basically like if I were a kid and I watched that, I would think that's where babies came from.
I will admit I feel the same way. When I was younger, I don't think I really grasped that animals worked the same way as people, I guess. So I was like, oh, I guess cats just get a kitten from the store. And I believed that for a while. Like, I hate to say that, but like till I was like 12 or 13, I'd say. Which is very embarrassing.
I don't even know if I ever believed in the stork, ever. I guess I never thought about it.
Or maybe, like, yeah.
I just took it and like, oh, okay, wherever they come from, they come from. I never really thought about it.
Yeah. But I did, because I'm reading a book about Disney, and it talks about, like, the films and where the gospel is in the movies. And the first thing the author writes about is Disney's way of explaining sex. Storks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, you can't expect them to go into full detail, can you? So, but, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I thought it was good. I think that was a good idea. Yeah,
and I liked how they animated it, like, they were like a ballet, almost. And the music was like a barbershop quartet, almost. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought of. Mm-hmm. And, actually...
I must say that one of probably my favorite, and I always remember there was when I was little and we were in Disney World, my grandparents were there with us, and my mom and dad were going somewhere, so they stayed at the hotel. I believe we were at Dixie Landings, and they stayed with us at the hotel, the three of us, and I remember, like, the big thing was, like, we ate dinner, and then it was like, okay, make sure you're good, because Dumbo's going to be on TV tonight. And what we watched, and so I was all excited, and we sat down, and we saw Dumbo. And I remember from, like, hearing the Casey Jr. song, and always thinking that was my favorite Disney song. That the chord for that song is so different. The chord progressions of that song, it has such an interesting sound to it, and such this tuneful melody to it, but it's not normal, and it just, I love that song, and it's always been my favorite. Since the first time I heard it, it was always my favorite Disney song.
It's really interesting, because with this movie, with its history, and seeing how quickly it was made, it surprisingly has a lot of memorable songs and moments. Like that Casey Jr. song, the Baby Mine song, and When I See an Elephant Fly.
That song actually, I remember used to make me cry even when I was a kid.
Not as a
Baby
kid for
Mine,
me.
because it made me think of my mom and like.
Oh.
I never heard
perfect
any
because
of
we
these
totally
songs.
planned this for Mother's Day, right?
Oh, that's right.
Oh my gosh, this is perfect. There you go. You know, I have to say real quick. Today, I had the song stuck in my head because I watched Dumbo last night, and my cat was in my room, and I went up to her, and I don't know why, but she loves when I sing to her, and I started singing Baby Mine to her, and she pressed her head against my arm, and it was so cute.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I just had to say that.
She would have bit me, but...
Yeah, she probably would have, but... See... Bella is a bipolar cat, but she also is a cat who really loves her family and nobody else.
Yeah.
So, she can be lovable. But yeah.
But I actually I didn't know any of these songs. I didn't recognize one of them. I never heard them before, and none of them really stuck in my head. I couldn't even tell you one right now.
Oh, really?
Isn't that weird? I don't know why. I never heard these songs in the parks. I don't recognize them. They're not really in any music. I've never seen them in just pop culture references or anything.
Yeah.
I've never heard of any of these songs before.
I know that When I See an Elephant Fly and Casey Jr. were usually on, like, the sing-along songs that I had when I was younger. And plus...
probably skipped past them because I didn't recognize them.
I don't know if we owned the Dumbo VHS tape. I don't think we did, so...
Yeah, I didn't.
That's how I listened to the songs from the sing-alongs. Mm. And speaking of, like, Dumbo's mother and stuff, you know, before Dumbo actually comes and you see her standing there longing for a child and she doesn't get one. I mean, this movie is sad enough, but right away it starts off pretty sad when she's standing there longing for a child and it doesn't drop down to her.
And she's watching it go in all the other enclosures.
Yeah.
She's just kind of trying to grab it. Aw, it's so cute.
Yeah, I know. Oh, poor Dumbo's mom goes through a lot in this movie.
I still think we should have a favorite character segment. Because in Pinocchio, I was like, I would pick an obscure character, and probably Dumbo's mom would be my obscure favorite character pick.
Dumbo's mom.
That's a good question. I don't know who I'd choose.
Bambi's mom. Spoiler alert, she dies.
Wow, Eric, nobody knew that. Why did you say that?
I actually thought that Dumbo's mom was going to die. I thought that's what happened.
Oh, really?
So I was surprised and happy to see she didn't.
They never show her again.
Well, at the end.
At the very end. She's on the back of the train.
Oh, that's right. She is on the back of the train.
Yeah, which I forgot about that part entirely. So I was like, oh, yay, she's free.
Also, keep in mind, that looks like a monorail.
I know, it does. Maybe it was hinting toward the future.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a very long future. That's what,
that was like
30 years away.
30, 40 years later,
yeah.
They knew that far, and I don't think even Disneyland was even...
No, it was 59, I think.
Yeah, this is 1941, so they were really looking into the future.
Hey, well, he was a dreamer, so... And speaking of trains now, we have Casey Jr., who's like the little engine that could.
Yeah.
I love that. That's cute.
Is Little Engine That Could, is that a separate story, right?
Yes, that's a completely separate story.
That's one of those golden books, right?
Oh, right, yeah. Do you know, did you guys ever read that when you were little?
Yeah, I did. I used to have a cartoon movie of it that I used to watch all the time.
I think I did too.
It was the train was blue, and there were these kids in it. By the way, the kid in this movie that taunts Dumbo looked really weird.
Oh, I know. Well, we'll get to that. He reminded me of that kid from Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, me too.
Lampy?
Yeah.
Lampwick.
Lampy.
That they call him Lampy.
They do call him Lampy probably at one point.
We could call him Lampy. It's fine. We nicknamed him. We liked him that much. We made a nickname for him.
Oh, there you go. I was wondering if in the original story he was, he had a name, Casey Jr., or if he was just a little engine that could. You guys know?
I think that was his name.
I should look it up, actually. Because I wanted to know, if that wasn't his original name, what could possibly be the reason they named him that?
Didn't they mention that, though, in the movie that was his name?
No, they do. It is his name. But I'm wondering if that was his name in the original story of the little engine.
Oh, I see. You went the other way. Gotcha.
Yeah. And it says, it was his name, so never mind.
Wow.
Little engine that could... Yeah. Because I actually looked up the name meaning of Casey, thinking that if it wasn't his name, why'd they name him? And one of the name meanings was vigorous, and you see him going, I think I can.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
And then he's like, I knew I could.
Yeah. Which sounded really weird when I was little.
I thought that was really cute.
I love it now, but when I was little, that part freaked me out for some reason. I don't know why.
It does, though. When they're speaking, it is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But there's so many cute things in this movie. It's just really, really cute. I would sum it up as cute. It's a very cute movie. Lots of little things, like the train. Yeah, little things.
Dumbo getting drunk, that was so cute.
That was what? What the heck? Why is that in there?
People always talk about that scene and they're like, Dumbo got high, and I'm like, did you watch the movie? He gets drunk. Just watch it.
Oh,
okay.
Can I throw something in about Casey again? The name Casey?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
There's a little quick service in Magic Kingdom called Casey's Corner.
Yes.
But it's not related to this. It's about baseball.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I knew it was about baseball, but I still thought, well, maybe there's some weird, obscure connection.
Wait, where is that?
It's on Main Street, on the corner, across from the plaza and ice cream.
Yeah, that's right.
And the bakery. It's across from the bakery.
Ooh.
Right. I like how you see Casey Jr. traveling around, and then you see the stork going on a journey to deliver Dumbo. I always remember the scene where Dumbo is in the pouch and he keeps sliding through the cloud.
Yeah. I always laughed at that because he's singing a song. He's like, rock-a-bye, baby. Oh, there you go. And he's in the middle of it. He's like, oh no, you don't drop.
It's really interesting how, going back to even Pinocchio, when there are scenes in the movie that would seem very, they don't need to be there, but they are there and they're funny. And I think that was one of them. I like the attention to detail.
Yeah, that's something that they do a lot in this and Pinocchio, and a lot of the early ones that I've noticed. They put a lot of attention to detail and spend a lot of time, just like with the clocks in Pinocchio.
No, I think that Pinocchio did it more.
It did, yeah. Pinocchio's a lot longer.
Yeah, but it's still more than what they do now. I mean, compare it to now.
Yeah.
Totally
yeah, the films, you can tell, like, especially the ones that Walt personally worked on, you can see they all, like, I remember when I watched The Sword and the Stone for the first time, and it just so reminded me of Sleeping Beauty, because they all have the same tone to them, almost.
Yeah, you can tell his style. It's his style, I think.
Yeah.
You could tell
which is not there anymore.
Yeah.
So the stork comes and delivers to Mrs. Jumbo her baby, which is named Jumbo Jr., as Eric had said. And he's adorable. He's adorable with his big ears as well. But
I don't know why people made fun of that so much. I didn't think that was weird.
I think it's because, they say throughout the film, like, that the elephants are a proud race, and it seems that their appearance is very important, and the fact that he has these big ears, it's like a shame to them. And I like how when they're pointing out the fact that he has big ears, that the one elephant whispers E-A-R-S. Like, because my grandma did that all the time when I was little. Spelling out things so I wouldn't know what she was saying. At least when I was very little. So yeah, Dumbo sneezes, and his big ears pop out, and it surprises everybody. And you see the elephants, like, teasing him, and the mother hits them away, and then shuts that thing in their faces to block out their laughter. And then we see Dumbo and his mom bonding, and she wraps him in his own ears for his blankets, which I thought was
horrible. There's so many cute things. Every little thing is just so cute. Throughout the whole thing, I'm like, I should make a note of this and this. And there was just so many notes at one point. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. There's too many cute things. The whole thing is just so cute.
Jen, you're such a girl.
I know. Just listen to that Frozen cast. Podcast. Really. I'm a girl. And then this, yes.
That's so funny.
And I'm here like, yeah, Dumbo gets drunk.
I know. Different perspectives.
Yes, very.
We're diverse. We're a diverse podcast.
We are. So then we see the part where, Casey Jr. is saying, I think I can. I thought I could.
I love that.
And then we see the animals, or I shouldn't say animals, elephants and camels helping set up the circus in the rain, which was a very weird segment for me, at least.
Like, I liked it.
I liked it, but I don't know. It was just, I liked it, but I didn't like the music behind it.
I like that too. I like the whole feel of it. I like that whole.
It's sort of like the harsh life that they.
It is.
Yeah.
It added another side and dimension I think we needed.
Oh yeah.
It just didn't focus on. It changed the tone, but in a good way. But then it changed it back quickly. But it gave you some kind of sense of reality, I guess.
Yeah, it's true.
I liked it.
Yeah, and that song. There are some songs in this movie, like, I couldn't even sing that back to you, as you were saying, Jen.
It reminded me of the ice song, the Frozen in the ice.
Actually, yeah, sort of.
Oh, and the cuteness whenever Dumbo was hitting it with his little hammer. I know. It was so cute.
It was adorable, I know.
Like his mom was doing it.
I felt bad for him when I saw that. If that were me, I would have gotten so mad, like... Why can't it doesn't go in when I hit it?
Yeah, seriously.
He was just so excited to have his little hammer.
He was the cutest.
I know.
Oh, he was adorable. I love Dumbo. Way more than I expected I would.
Me too. Actually, my first trip to Disney, or my second trip, I bought a stuffed Dumbo because it was just so cute. Aww. I never saw the movie ever at that point, but I remember buying a stuffed Dumbo because it was adorable. He had the little hat.
Yeah. So we see the brass band come up in this parade to introduce the circus. And we see Dumbo, and he's holding onto his mom's tail with his trunk.
So
which
cute.
I know. Oh my gosh, so adorable. Which we see throughout the film when he hangs onto Timothy's tail as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then he falls in the mud. Poor Dumbo. Trips over his ears.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has to get a bath. And I always remember this scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the little, when he's playing with his mom and the squeaking noises he makes. That was so cute. Like, I know it wasn't real, but I was like, I wish little baby elephants, I want to play with one now.
Oh god, I don't think you do. They probably stink. I mean...
Yeah, okay. In reality, I realize my statement.
I'm too much of a realist. I'm too literal with this.
I guess, okay, now that I made the statement and you pointed it out, yeah, it makes sense. But if Dumbo...
Eric's probably regretting doing this podcast.
Oh, no, this is I love this podcast. This is
We're like, oh, can they stop saying cute?
No, say cute as much as you want.
Oh, you like our cuteness podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Where we talk about how cute Dumbo is?
Oh, of course.
Okay, good. And so then we see these kids come in, and they start taunting Dumbo for the size of his ears. And
these kids look really messed up. Like, well, I think they're supposed to. I think they're supposed to look like, you know, like what, like nasty teenage kids look like. They're just like also, really stupid.
Yeah, and the kid who was actually tormenting Dumbo and pulling him. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but he has big ears himself.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I thought was the irony of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And then the mother becomes angry, and she, like, gets out of control trying to protect her son, which was a really hard scene for me to watch. Because it was so tragic and sad.
Yeah.
I forgot how sad this movie was. Like, I knew the Baby Mine song was coming.
Baby mine, won't you cry?
Wow, that was beautiful.
Honey, that used to make me cry when I was a kid.
It didn't when I was a kid, but I don't remember watching it that much. So, I mean, I didn't really cry much as a kid. The movie that made me cry as a kid was Fox and the Hound.
Oh, I'm a mess. I cry during everything, as we've established through previous ones. I cried during Frozen. I cried during Toy Story.
You cried at Frozen? Mr. Banks, I did. Mr. Banks, I did, I'll admit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Banks.
If you want to see the movie that I always cry at the ending of, no matter how many times I see it, is Field of Dreams. Yeah, I know.
Yes,
you know what it
I know.
Like, literally, if like right now, if you show, I'd be crying like a bee, like everywhere. I just like bawl at the end of that every time.
But my point is, I did not cry during this movie.
Really?
Isn't that weird? Like I said, I cried during everything, but I did not. I did not even shed a tear. Whenever they did that baby song, I thought, oh, that's nice. But I'm like, I didn't. And I thought, maybe because in the back of my mind, I thought that his mom was going to die, and so I was maybe preparing to cry during that.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, and so it just never happened. I just never cried at all.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I actually cried during an episode of ER that same day, but I didn't cry during this.
Wow.
It was weird. I was kind of waiting for it, but I didn't.
Wow. I'm a little disappointed, Jen. No, just kidding.
It's weird for me. Jeez, I'm a mess during everything. That was odd.
Yeah, I honestly, I couldn't not cry during this. I had to bring a tissue box near me. So, yeah, we see this scene, and Dumbo's mom is put into this little train car that says "Danger, Mad Elephant," and she's chained up, and Dumbo is all alone. And then we see these gossiping elephants, all in a circle, and they're talking about Dumbo and, like, disowning him as an elephant, and, like, to not be a part of their race anymore because of all the havoc he has caused. And it's interesting because, and I know I emailed you guys about this, about the whole, well, I'll cut this out for a second. Did you guys get my email about the grubs thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain it to the listeners, so in turn I'll be explaining it. So, there's a thing I want to incorporate into our podcast, where another podcast I listen to does something called...
okay, yeah, I did get that email.
Okay, yeah. Something called slices, they call it, where it's like a slice of a story. And so, I figure we could call ours grubs, because like grubs from The Lion King.
That is so clever. I love that name. As soon as I saw that
Yeah.
email, I'm like, oh, that's genius. That title, I love it. It's so
Yay.
smart.
I feel so happy. Yeah, so I was originally, because I did have a grub, I was going to talk about that whole NBA situation and racism, but I didn't really know how I would incorporate it with Dumbo. But then I was actually writing a blog today for my actual blog about, did you guys hear about the story about that World Vision organization?
I did not.
I've been in my work hole for like a month. I have no idea of what's going on in the world.
I don't even know how I heard about it. You're in your own little bubble. It's okay.
I have no idea what's going on. I couldn't tell you one news story. That's like whenever I saw your Grubs thing, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't even know what is happening. I don't even know any news.
Well, usually I don't either, so I'm surprised that I can say this. But there's a nonprofit organization called World Vision, where what you do is you sign up and you will sponsor a child. And monthly you pay, I think it's like $40 a month to sponsor a child in Africa. And it's a really popular organization. And it's well known for the fact that it's a Christian organization. And so what happened was, I don't know if this is a U.S. law or just a state law, but a law came out saying that every organization needs to hire gay employees. No matter what, you shouldn't discriminate. So World Vision decide, like, they have to. They can't, they have to follow the law. So they made a statement saying that they were going to hire gay employees. And people freaked out. And they started taking away their monthly donations and, like, disowning these children that they sponsor. And I was writing this article, or this blog post, and all of a sudden it occurred to me how similar this is to Dumbo. This idea that we are, I guess, disowning, like, doing something that's right because somebody is different. This idea that these elephants are looking at Dumbo just because he's different than them. The same with World Vision, that these people are not looking at the big picture. They're like, oh, well, you're hiring gay people now, so I'm not going to support a child in need. Almost. And I don't know, I was literally writing this today, and I was like, oh my gosh, Dumbo. Like, Dumbo's the most simple story that can really, like, set the tone for this and kind of show us, like, the silliness of this situation. And I don't know, it related back to me. So, yeah.
That's true.
Very nice.
I mean, it is it's relatable for sure in that way.
Oh, okay, I'm glad you guys see it too, because I wasn't sure.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so that's my grub. Something to think about.
Even Dumbo itself, it's a very universal story. I mean, at this point, this is still early on in storytelling, but I wonder how many times this story has been told before, if at all. I wonder if this is the first one where you kind of have, like, an outsider and someone who's looked like as a freak, and they don't want to have anything to do with them, and they're not the perfect image. I wonder how many times that kind of story has been done, or even if that was a touchy subject back when this was even made. I don't know.
I was wondering that myself when I was watching this.
Because now you're just kind of used to it, but this was a long time ago.
Right, I think
different.
It's almost as if, this was the origination of this story trope, at least in movies. Because maybe in books they'd been doing it, but in film, I mean, Dumbo in itself was this landmark in animation, so I think it could have been originating this type of story trope, in a way. But yeah, so that's my grub for the day. So,
I like that grub.
Oh, yes.
Yum, yum. Tastes good.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Tastes like chicken.
That was really great.
Perfect.
Great way to bring it back. Now I want to watch The Lion
Slimy
King.
yet satisfying.
Oh, yes.
See, that's what you need is introduction music for the grubs.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Cool. I'm writing that down right now. Okay. So, where were we? Okay, so we see these elephants block Dumbo out. They totally shut him out, and they ignore him, pretend they don't see him. And Timothy the mouse is there, and he can see the ridiculousness of the situation. And he's like, really? They're blocking him out just because he has big ears? And so he scares the elephants.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like how the movie teams a mouse up with an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Like the two most unlikely people or animals coming together.
I'm guessing you read that it was in the original story. It's not a mouse; it's something else.
I didn't actually. I didn't
what
do
is
my.
it then? See, I don't know why I read that somewhere. It wasn't a mouse. It was a robin in the book.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay.
They changed it to a mouse to make that part where elephants are supposed to be afraid of mice. So it was
very nice.
Thrown in. Yeah.
The book was actually written in 1939, and most of the animation was really. It looked exactly, or at least this is what I read. It looked really similar to the drawings in the actual book. Yeah, so I don't know how much they changed with the story, but it seems like they took a lot of, like, since it was so new, because 1939, I think this movie was out in 1941, and it seems like they just bought it right away and literally took everything from the original. I don't know how much money the original author made or anything. Like, if that makes sense. I'm trying to, like, form my thoughts into words. But, yeah. So, I'd like the change, though, from Robin to Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Timothy make peace with Dumbo by giving him a peanut and then saying that he likes his ears.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
By the way, that was one of the funniest parts in the movie is when Timothy says, "Oh, you have to come out to get the peanut," and then he just sneaks his trunk in and sucks it up from his hand. That was
That's
and
right.
The shells come flying out.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute.
That was cute.
So then I guess this is when Dumbo first starts grabbing Timothy's tail. I guess not seeing him as a mother figure, but as a parental figure. Somebody who comes and swoops in and helps Dumbo out when nobody else would. And then we see Dumbo, he's made into a clown. Oh wait,
yeah,
no.
This part I didn't. Well, they first tried to do the the pile up where they all, and he's supposed to jump on top of the elephants, but then he trips on his ears and he makes the whole thing go haywire, and then they make him into a clown. And this part, I didn't actually get this as a kid, and I got it now, where he's dressed up like a baby that's in a burning building, and there's this clown has like an elephant mask on, and he's saying like, "Oh, my baby, somebody has to save my baby." I don't know if to make fun of the mother elephant. Right. I just thought of that now. And then they do all these. I thought the act was actually. I was laughing at this. It was actually really funny. They the fat clown like runs over to the fire with a little tiny teardropper and starts like putting tiny drops into like the flour outside of the building. And then
I missed all this.
Yeah.
Okay, that is funny.
And then the two clowns run up and one pulls out like a water gun and squirts the other guy. I thought that was actually a really funny act. And then the guy puts the ladder up and then he walks out off the top of it and he falls down.
Yeah. And if you think about it, that's most of the entertainment that people had at that time was going to the circus.
Yeah.
So that would be something that people could really relate to because it was hilarious. So, and that was a really good scene in general. That whole thing of showing Dumbo basically humiliated. I felt so bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oh yeah, one part I wanted to say, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when Dumbo trips on his ears and the elephants are going all over the place, we see the elephant that's on the bottom of the tower of elephants who's rolling in the ball, and she's running, and Dumbo's in her way, and she's like, "Out of my way, assassin!"
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that, yeah.
And I was like, what the heck?
I thought that was just a weird thing to say then.
Yeah. So, we see right away, obviously, that after all this, the huge failure is Dumbo's ears. His ears are the reason that he is in the situation that he's in. And, we get to the scene where he's crying, and the elephants are all injured. And Timothy says, let me take you to your mother. And, this scene is so sad. It's the song Baby Mine, it's a very intimate song, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's kind of silly, but I did sing it to my cat today.
Oh my god.
I really did, and I felt so motherly, because I am technically, I chose her, I'm her mother, and I felt so close. Are you my mother?
Remember that book?
Oh, I loved that book when I was little. Dr. Seuss.
Oh, that is Dr. Seuss, man.
Yeah. But it's a very intimate song about this bond that children have with their mother. And you see Dumbo, first of all, his mom can't even see him, really. Her chains won't allow her to get that far. So all you have is this bond of her trunk coming down and her cradling Dumbo, which is really a beautiful scene. And it also speaks about motherhood, and you see this child unjustly taken from his mother.
Yeah.
And yeah,
there's a lot about the movie. To me, it really focused on the theme of animal cruelty, just from the elephant being taken from the mother, and then just the way they were whipping and treating the elephant when she was sort of going out of control. Not really out of control, but what they thought was going out of control. And then just like how they treat the different animals during the acts and stuff like that. It really had a lot to do with like how animals were treated and seen.
I'm surprised, because I thought the same thing. I'm surprised nobody, no activist groups said anything. Yeah. Because it was really Bambi that people became really involved and, really animal rights. Because I think it was John Lennon who said that it was Bambi, or maybe Paul McCartney, actually, one of the Beatles, who said that it was Bambi who got them to be a animal rights activist. But Dumbo is, I think, definitely an animal rights movie.
Yeah.
So we see the clowns discussing, that they could be a star act, they could make Dumbo jump from a higher height, and that they want to raise and stuff, and they're pouring alcohol, and it pours into the water. And Dumbo and Timothy drink it.
Yeah.
And they go, they have quite a fun night.
Yeah. Well, this is probably the weirdest part, because first of all, they never ever talk about this scene afterwards. And it's what the Nostalgia Critic titles well, I can't say it because it's a bad word, but like a mind F moment is what he calls it. And he did the top 11 mind F moments in movies, and the Pink Elephants on Parade was one of them. Mm-hmm. And just like how everything goes out of control and it has nothing to do with anything, and then they never talk about it again.
Right.
Along with the scary tunnel in Willy Wonka and things like that, where it's like they never mention it again.
Yeah.
I remember a few podcasts back, I mentioned how I was watching top 10 scariest moments in Disney cartoons or something, and this was one of those moments in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the Pinocchio thing with the donkeys, that was the one. Yeah. And actually the last scene in Fantasia with the scary guy, I remember that being in part of it. And this was one of them. And the parts of Ichabod Crane when he's being chased by the Host Horseman, that's in it. There's 10. There's part 1 and part 2, yeah. And this scene was in it. It was one of them, I remember.
It goes up too.
It is definitely like almost this weird, I've never been drunk before, so I can't say, but I know just from the dreams I've had.
Oh, God.
It's just a typical...
I think just because Dumbo, he looked at how much he drank.
Right.
Because he thought it was water, so Timothy kept drinking and drink more. And then the part where he's holding it in, because it really burns if you do that.
Yeah.
And his face turns bright red.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, I was going to say,
Sorry.
it's interesting how this is the second movie in just, 3 or 4 first animation films where the lead character is drinking.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
She was in Pinocchio, and that's 2 out of 4.
But I just have to say, though, like, as a kid, I don't even know what I thought of alcohol itself, but I didn't know that what they were drinking was the reason they were acting weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, no, I think I think that I did. I understood that, like, they were drinking and then they poured. I remember them dropping it in that container, and then, like, that's why. I remember understanding it.
Yeah.
That's why.
I remember that part. Like, I distinctly remember watching it as a kid, but I guess I just didn't get it. I don't know. But, yeah, you're right. It's weird how all this alcohol is used in Disney.
Yeah, it's the second one already.
Yeah. So yeah, we see these really weird images, which I know it's really strange, but if you think about it, dreams are very strange in this way, where they move in different directions all the time. Like, you're in one place and then suddenly you're in another. Like, do you know what I'm talking about when you're dreaming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and the images were just... First we see all these pink and purple elephants, and then they're all patterned, and then they're ice skating and shaking their butts with lightning.
And the song
a lot of
weird.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of it, some of it reminded me of Fantasia with the dancing hippo with the alligator, and then the ice skating. It reminded me of Fantasia. Yeah.
Same. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, and I also thought, going back a little, when Timothy and Dumbo were blowing the bubbles, I thought of Fantasia. I mean, not Fantasia, Fantasmic. But I don't remember. Were there any scenes with them in I know you mentioned it in your theme park corner.
The only part of Dumbo in Fantasmic was when he was flying and Timothy was there. Because in Fantasmic, you know how they have the bubbles going up and they have the characters in the bubbles?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's all animated. That they didn't really take that directly from the film and put it in. They transposed it in the bubbles. Except the Jiminy Cricket stuff, because he's actually in a bubble in the film. So they were able to use that film bit. In this one, they used the scene of Dumbo flying for the first time, and they put that in the bubble. Mm-hmm. So they didn't actually use the actual bubbles from this movie. They didn't directly put it in.
Okay.
But it would have made sense. They could have, but I guess they don't want to put drunk Dumbo in Fantasmic. They want a part that people remember, like him flying.
Very true. Another scene I thought of while watching this was from the Winnie the Pooh
Effalumps
movie.
and Woozles. Yeah, yes. I thought of that too. Especially the part where they're in plaid and they sort of cross and become one. Mm-hmm. That part I really, Effalumps and Woozles. What movie was that from?
That was... It's like a Winnie the Pooh movie. It's like the Blustery Day segment. Yeah, where like
that was always on like the Halloween episodes, and I never understood. I'm like, Effalumps, and I think because they couldn't say elephants and weasels.
I don't
something,
know.
And so that's why they said Effalumps and Woozles.
Yeah, I don't know the story behind it, but yeah. That part was always very weird to me as a kid, and I think I watched Winnie the Pooh more than Dumbo. So I made the connection. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. Like, I didn't really enjoy the scene. Like, it was weird, and I think it was meant to be there. But I was like, oh, this is very strange. So then, like many people who get really drunk, they end up in a place that they didn't realize they would end up.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
And we see, here comes the crows, where they're up in a tree, and they're talking about this elephant in the tree, and we see Dumbo and Timothy sleeping on a branch, and they wake Timothy up, and he's clearly hungover, and all of a sudden he realizes that they're up in a tree, and him and Dumbo fall or crash into a lake or a little pond, because they freak out that they're so high up, and then sorry, go ahead.
I would say this whole ending section after drinking the bubbles and that, it just seemed disconnected to me from the rest of the movie.
It did go really fast.
Like, it changed the mood of it, and then it just started, all these different things started happening that we weren't even introduced to, really, and it just went really fast and ended really abruptly, I felt like.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of building up the relationship between him and his mom, and I thought there'd be more of that, but all of a sudden we're bubbles and elephants and birds. I'm like, whoa, what happened to the whole thing we've been building to? And then all of a sudden it just switches to something completely different.
Right.
That felt weird.
It was weird. It went really fast. I didn't dislike it, though, but it did feel disconnected from the movie.
It's kind of like the whale in Pinocchio, it was the same feeling. You had this idea of it, and it was going, and all of a sudden, the whale happens, you're like, what? And then this happens, you're like, whoa, and it just throws off the rest of it, I think. Not really in a bad way, but it throws it off, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, it does a little. Because I remember when I was watching, and I was like, wait, there's less than 20 minutes left. How is this going to wrap up?
I remember it being less than 6 minutes left, and I'm like, what? There's 6 minutes? Do I have
really?
a movie? Like,
no,
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they did a good job with it, even though there was only a little bit left. It seemed like a lot happened within those minutes, and it was I thought it was fine. It seemed a lot long. Like, I didn't even know, like, Dumbo's only a little bit more than an hour long, because they really has a good story in it, and really good characters, and a really good setting, and they just do a good job of telling the story.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm. I read that this is one of the only Disney movies that takes place in America.
Really?
Yeah. Well, Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not only, one of the only.
Yeah.
The Rescuers, or is that not?
The Rescuers is in America, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so there are a few, but not much.
Yeah.
Because the Rescuers is in New York.
I can say that I loved the I've Never Seen an Elephant Fly song, just because of all of the different puns that they use. When they say, I've seen a peanut stand, I've seen a rubber band. They said, I've seen a dragonfly, I've seen a housefly, but I've never seen an elephant fly. I just thought that because, like, as a kid, I got, like, okay, a dragonfly, okay, haha, but I never, like, a rubber band or a peanut stand. I didn't get that until now.
Yeah.
I found this really cool map of the world, and it has all these little Disney pictures and shows you where they're from. Like, they have the Brother Bear up in Alaska, and they have Bambi, Fox and the Hound, like, in middle America, like up by the Dakotas maybe, and then Cars here's in California. Ichabod, he looks like in Boston.
Yeah, the Sleepy Hollow is in Connecticut.
Okay, Connecticut, and then Toy Story is like Michigan or Ohio.
Oh, can you send this?
Yeah,
I want to see it. What was near here?
Oh, Dumbo's Florida, obviously. We saw that in the map.
Yeah,
no, I mean, like,
right.
What was near Pennsylvania? Was anything?
Well, let me send it real quick.
I would think that, Fantasia, because of Philadelphia Orchestra. But
nothing really. Pocahontas is
Virginia, Jamestown, because that's where
Virginia.
they come as Jamestown.
Yeah. And then Lady and the Tramp looks like New York.
Oh, really?
There's around New York, but there's nothing in Pennsylvania.
Let's see here. Oh, this is pretty cool. Let's see here.
Oh, this is awesome.
The Incredibles. Oh, Lady and the Tramp is the closest. That's from New York.
Yeah.
And then Pocahontas is in Jamestown. Those are the closest. Yeah, and then Pinocchio in Italy. And what's that one? Is that Atlantis? That's
where? Oh, that is Atlantis,
Hercules, obviously from Greece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The closest one to me is probably Toy Story. Because it looks like northern Ohio into Michigan.
Meet the Robinsons is in the middle. Oh, that's another movie. I cried at the end of that movie. During Small Wonders, I always cry during that.
What's the other one above, in New Orleans, above Princess and the Frog? What's that one?
The Rescuers. That's the Rescuers.
Yeah, it's the Rescuers.
Okay.
The Rescuers is in New York.
No, it has it in New Orleans.
I think that's because that's where Penny is, but it starts in New York.
That's right, because they're in a bog in they're in like a swamp.
Yeah,
you're right.
Look at Finding Nemo. They're in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, they just pick some ocean somewhere. Rescuers Down Under, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Frozen is up there in Brave.
Yeah.
Mulan in China.
In Mexico, the Donald Duck and the two things. We just rode that ride for the first time ever. It's in the
ride?
Mexico Pavilion.
Oh, yeah.
In Epcot.
My favorite part of that ride was always the one where there's like 3 video screens and the guy keeps popping up as you go. as you follow through the screens, this guy keeps chasing you. He's like trying to sell you something, and he keeps popping up. And one of them, there's a sombrero, and he pops up, and the sombrero's on his head. I always remember that for some reason.
I don't think I've ever been on that.
I've never even known it was in there, but listeners, if you ever go to Epcot, go in the Mexico Pavilion. It's gorgeous.
Mexico. There's also there's a restaurant there.
It's gorgeous. I never went in before, but it's just, it looks like, the Mayan temple, or don't even ask my history. Yeah. Something like that. It just looks kind of plain, because usually there's a movie or whatever. Go inside. It's beautiful. It looks like you're outside in a Mexican bazaar kind of thing, and there's this restaurant on the water, but the water is actually the boat ride, and then there's that temple in the back, and they made the room like so the sky is above you, but you're indoors, and it's like nighttime. It's beautiful. I've never been in there, and it's gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to go there next time. You know, I had a dream last night that we actually my mom was like, "Do you want to go to Disney World?" And I was like, "Yeah," and so we just went. It's really random, but I woke up thinking, oh, I'm not going to Disney World. But if I was, I'd go there first. Since you just talked about it.
Yes, do it. It's beautiful.
I love seeing all these movies from France. Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Hunchback, Beauty and the Beast, Aristocrats.
This is the coolest map.
Yeah, I'll definitely put this in the show notes for everybody to see, because it's great.
And Little Mermaid, that's like in the Caribbean.
I don't see... Oh, yeah, that's right.
And look at that, A Bug's Life. Where is that? Where? Texas?
Oh, yeah. Huh. Cool.
That's so cool. It is. Wow.
Yeah.
Good
Very nice
work.
map.
Oh, and then there's the Sword in the Stone. Oh, good work. Whoever did this. Good job.
Seriously, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So back to Dumbo.
Oh my, sorry.
No, that's okay. That was an awesome...
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, it was great. So I think I'm just gonna spoil it. My zippity doo dah moment is the most cliche moment when Timothy says the very things that held you down are gonna carry you up to Dumbo when he says he's gonna fly. And so the crows, even though they start making fun of Dumbo, when Timothy, starts crying and telling him, oh, how would you feel if you were taken from your mother? Then they start to sympathize, and they help him by giving him a magic feather. And that's, again, one of those things that we talked about last time with Angels in the Outfield, when, kind of like with Mel Clark, Eric. Yeah, like telling him he has an angel with him. This psychology thing, or psychological effect, where you think something's helping you, when really it's just you that's doing it. And then, so we see Dumbo fly, and we see him sit on the, the wires. And I just sat there thinking, oh god, that's scary. So then, they decide, sorry, go ahead.
I really thought that flying, like I said before, had more to do in the movie. So it was weird to see in the last 6 minutes or something, that's it. He flew and that was it. And I thought, wow,
I don't know why is it that I think because they were really trying to, because it said they were trying to make the money up from that they had lost from Fantasia, so they were trying to make a shorter movie so it wouldn't cost as much, but that they could so that they could make up the money more.
That is the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think also, it's going back, I mean, if you can even say this, since it's the fourth movie that they made, but it's going back to their roots, where Fantasia kind of strayed away, and Dumbo's returning to the Snow White Pinocchio style.
And it's kind of funny, I'm excluding Snow White because for some reason that became extremely iconic and everyone knows the whole story. But with Pinocchio, all people know is his nose growing, and here all people know is Dumbo flying, and the rest of the story is just gone. So it's just interesting how that was marketed that way, and people picked up on that, and that's all.
By the way, Pinocchio's nose growing, that's such a stereotypical thing, but that literally it was like one scene, and it happened once in the whole movie, and it took about 2 minutes.
Not even that, yeah. Yeah, so that's, same way with Dumbo. We'll have to see. I guess with Bambi, the thing that takes over is his mom dying. Everybody remembers that from Bambi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really think of other examples, but yeah. So yeah, the flying scene is very quick, but I thought it worked though, but it was very disconnected almost. So we see Dumbo, and he's jumping from a really high height, when he's a clown, and him and Timothy are gonna put, this flying to the test, and to surprise people. And as they're jumping, Dumbo's feather falls out of his grip, and he starts freaking out. But at the last minute, he flies before he hits the ground or the pool, whatever. And I love how he sucks the peanuts up and starts shooting them at the clowns, because I don't know if they did this intentionally, but the fact that the war was going on at that time and airplanes were like a really big thing in World War II.
They probably did.
Yeah, because you can see it just looked like a jet plane, like a fighter plane.
Yeah.
This movie was released in the United States on Halloween 1941.
Oh, wow.
And actually, Pearl Harbor didn't happen until 2 months later, like a month later. Right. So the United States wasn't even in the war. But
No, but yeah. And this...
No, that's just like ironic to me that happened, and then all of a sudden Pearl Harbor happened, and then they were in the war.
Right. Yeah. And it is, not this movie, but I think Bambi's the last movie that Disney made before they started making those really short type of movies, like The Three Caballeros and Make Mine Music and
Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
That defines my childhood.
Me
Mr.
too.
Toad. Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
I'm out of the loop in this one.
I used to watch that over, and we used to have it recorded on VHS, and I used to watch it over and over again.
My aunt who, she has two boys, and they're older than me, maybe by 6-7 years, so I usually got a lot of their stuff when they were done with it, like their Nintendo and their stuff, and in with that was that tape. And I think I was too little to remember if she just let us borrow it or she actually gave it to us, but in my mind, I took it as she let us borrow it, and I used to watch that tape constantly. I loved Ichabod. I used to, over and over and over, I'd sit in front of the TV and just love it. That's my childhood.
I feel like, even though I didn't see that movie, it was a bit a part of my childhood, because I always used to see the trailer on, like, VHS tapes I had, and I remember the part where the guy is always introducing himself, where he's like, Ichabod. Ichabod Crane.
I can't wait to cover that.
Yeah, that will be toward Halloween, actually.
I always love scary stuff, as you know, so that was right down. I was so excited to see right down my alley, that movie.
Yeah, you guys are going to love the Halloween, because you guys both love Halloween.
Tower of Terror, I can't wait to cover. So many of those, I'm excited.
Yeah. So we see Dumbo become a triumphant flying elephant, and he's reunited with his mother, which was a very happy scene.
Yeah. And she's all
quick, though. Really
out.
Quick.
Yeah.
All of
at
that.
the very end, yeah. I think they really they had like an hour. I think they wanted to make it an hour limit, and so the fact that it was an hour and like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
They were just trying to really shove, because they did not. They wanted to make money with it, so make a shorter movie and make it better, and then you'll make money because you're not spending as much money on making it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Dumbo. And I have to say, this has been actually my favorite movie that we've watched so far. In the Disney animated canon, at least.
Quick thing about the time. I don't know if we read this part, but it says Walt Disney's distributor, RKA Pictures, had qualms about releasing this 64-minute feature as a major motion picture. They tried to persuade Disney to either cut it to a short, super subject length, or extend it to at least 70 minutes to have it released as a B picture. But Disney stood his ground, and the film was released as an A picture as intended. So there was a lot of discussion about the time, aside from the money, the company as well.
Very interesting. One thing I forgot to say also with the crows is that, with the whole stereotypical thing, a lot of people say that it's their dialect that makes them stereotypical, and I never knew this, but I just learned it yesterday. That in Shrek, because Shrek makes fun of Disney in many areas, And they do it really well, so I don't mind. But there's a part where Donkey, when he is his owner's trying to sell him, and the pixie dust falls on him, and so he starts flying, and he says, well, let me see if I wrote it down. He says basically the words they say in Dumbo, but he says it with correct grammar. And as we know, Donkey is voiced by Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that was a total jab at Disney for being racist. I never noticed that before.
I don't know if they were racist. I just thought that that's how the public viewed them.
Yeah.
Then.
I have a quote here, and I'm going to read it. It's said by Leonard Maltin. I forget who that is in comparison to this, but he said, "There has been considerable controversy over the Black Crow sequence in recent years, most of it unjustified. The crows are undeniably black, but they are black characters, not black stereotypes. There is no denigrating dialogue or Uncle Tom-isms in the scene, and if offense is to be taken in hearing I can't read my own handwriting. Blacks calling each other brother, then the viewer is merely being sensitive to accuracy."
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do kind of agree with that, but I don't know. It's a very controversial topic, but I didn't see any. I mean, I am white, so I don't know if I can say it, but I didn't see anything stereotypical. Or I shouldn't say stereotypical.
I thought that it's just
racist.
there was nothing bad. It was just that's how they were seen in that time period.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of times where people will say, oh, that's racist, but that's racist because they were just depicting how it was back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. But, yeah, that's just the way I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Before I interrupted you, you said that this is your favorite? You say something like
that? It is so far.
It says the only where is it? This was Walt Disney's favorite film made by his studios.
Really?
That's
really interesting, because I heard that was Bambi.
Oh, it says the source apparently is in some kind of DVD in the extras.
Okay.
So.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So why don't we move on to our zippity doodah moments? And I guess I'll say mine first since I already said it. Mine was when Timothy the Mouse says to Dumbo when he's about to fly, he says, "The very things that held you down are going to carry you up." Because it's almost talking about this idea of when we have something that seems that people call a problem or a dysfunction. I can't think of the word.
A flaw.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Perfect. A flaw. That people just constantly bring you down for. And here Dumbo is taking advantage of that and bringing himself up with it. That's saying that he can take advantage of his flaw and make it into something great. So I really liked that.
Oh, I like that too. It makes him unique. It use your uniqueness to succeed.
Oh, yeah, I really love that.
I like that. I didn't really pick that up as much until you said it. I like that too.
Yeah. So, who wants to go next?
I can go because I have another thought too on top of that kind of happened. I put the video up and went to my zippity doodah moment, and in the background I had it paused for a while, and in the background I just noticed. I'll tell you my moment first when I get to the background. It's whenever they have at the beginning, whenever they're doing that parade, and the elephants are walking with the tents or whatever with the people in them. And then Dumbo has his mom's tail, and he has a little chair with a little doll on it because he's too small to have an actual tent with a person. That's my zippy because it's so cute. I have a pause, and it is the cutest little thing.
I'm gonna make that our picture.
Oh, it's so cute. It's at 16:45.
Okay.
It's so
yeah,
cute.
I'm definitely gonna use that.
But I noticed when I had this pause, right behind him, the background is beautiful, and there's something that says it says Opera House, and it's just so detailed. And on here, these facts, it says Dumbo and Snow White are the only classic Walt Disney films to use watercolored backgrounds.
That's right. Yeah.
And you could tell in this pause that it's watercolor.
I think And correct me about this if you know it, I think Bambi used oil paintings
and
or something?
Pinocchio. Yeah, it says Pinocchio and Bambi were oil.
Okay, yeah.
And that's more expensive, I guess.
Right, but that's really cool. I didn't know that about Dumbo and Snow White.
Yeah, they're only two, and you could tell in this at 1645, and I love how it has opera house. Like, they went into detail. You would never even see that in the film, but the detail they put behind in those buildings is really, really neat.
I feel like we could have, like, a whole separate podcast about the detail put into Disney movies.
Yeah,
like, just the little details. Yeah.
Just like with everything they do, their parks, everything is just so detailed.
Actually, yeah, you're right. That would be, like, a whole nother level.
Yeah, stuff that people don't even realize or look at. It's just there, and that's what makes them better, I guess. That little stuff that you don't even notice.
Yeah.
It's super cute. That little chair with the little doll. So cute.
Oh, you're right, it was.
Okay.
All right, Eric, do you have a cute zippity-doo-dah moment? Or is it mainly?
I don't know if it's cute. Well, actually, it's kind of manly.
Okay.
The part during the parade where they show the gorilla, and he's like...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like...
Yeah.
He's like, ah, and he rips off the bar, and then he gets all serious, and he's like, oh, and he like puts it back.
Yeah.
That is cute, yes.
I did laugh out loud at that part, I will say.
There's a lot in that. I liked it too, because you could tell that he's performing. Because he is a nice gorilla. He's just performing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Okay, well, no game this week, but that's okay. I won't reveal to the listeners what our topic is next week, but I will say we will be playing a game the entire episode. Yes, so next episode will be entirely a game, so no game this time, so we can, rest ourselves up for the big game that will be ahead. Okay, so let's move to our question of the week, but first we'll recap last week's question. And the question was brought to you by me, and I asked, and I don't know if you've seen Angels in the Outfield, Jen?
Nope.
Have you seen it? Okay, well, so I don't know how well you can answer this question, but we'll make do with what we have. Do you think Angels in the Outfield was a catalyst toward the way Americans of the millennial generation view Christianity and religion? And the reason I asked that question was because in Angels in the Outfield, it basically has a boy praying to God, and then all of a sudden these angels come, and they answer his prayer. Even though they don't answer it in the way he expected, they still answer it. And I think kids will see this movie and think, oh, I can pray to God, and my prayers will always come true, and angels will appear and help me. And
that's kind of like wishing upon a star.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Same idea. But the only exposure I have to that movie is before one of my VHS tapes. I can't remember which one. There is a preview for that.
Lion King?
Maybe.
Yes, because it was 1994, yeah.
Okay, then maybe it's Lion King, because I remember seeing a preview for that before a movie that I watched a lot, so it might be Lion King.
Okay.
And I know Christopher Lloyd's in that, right?
He's Al, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the head angel.
I'm gonna say it's the same as When You Wish Upon a Star, same idea.
Yeah.
Religion's not really big in there. But I didn't see the movie, so I don't know.
Right. I guess what I was thinking was that I don't think that this movie was big enough to be itself a catalyst toward, like, the way people think about religion. Like, I remember it was popular, but it wasn't, like, this huge movie that people, like, went in flocks to see and talked about, you know? Mm-hmm. So, but I think it does have that sort of wish upon a star, Disney type of feeling to it. And I think it plays on the whole Disney religion thing, where when you wish upon a star, all your dreams will come true, and you don't really need to do anything as long as you have good faith and good works and stuff. So I think that's a part of the movie, and I think it only pushed forward Disney's view of what religion is, I guess. But I wouldn't say it shaped the way our generation viewed it. It only propelled what we already thought of it, I guess. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you have any comments, Eric? Or
I think that I don't know if that's just how people. I don't think that's how people saw it. I think that It was just more of a metaphorical, you know what I mean? Metaphorical, sort of like believing in something,
Right.
like I talked about last time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So now we're going to move to our question for this week, which is brought to us by Jen. So Jen, go ahead.
Okay, since we were just talking about like the locations of all these Disney films, and this one's shot in America, do you think that has a big impact on the film? Because in general, we didn't even think about this being shot in Florida, even though they blatantly showed Florida in the beginning. I don't think it really affects the viewing experience, because this could have been shot, placed, set in any location, and it really wouldn't have changed the story. And as we look at that map that we sent before, I think all those films kind of could have been placed in different countries. I don't know how big of an effect that has. So what do you think the effect, the location that it's set has on the film? We'll go with that. If that makes sense.
Alright, so that wraps it up for this week's episode of Talk Magic to Me, where we discussed Dumbo. I hope you listeners enjoyed it, because we had a lot of fun. Some really good conversations we had today.
Yes, I'm actually tired from them.
I know, me too, I'm exhausted.
Not responding. I'm just like,
yeah, I'm exhausted. Yeah, it's like, this was a long night, man.
Podcast is hard. People, podcasting is hard.
Seriously.
It's a lot of work.
It really is.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, me too.
It takes so much effort to put your feelings in the word eloquently. Yeah.
You're so right. It's funny because I sit down in front of the microphone and suddenly my brain freezes and I can never think of words and names and stuff. But then take me away from the microphone and I could have a full-on conversation and know my facts. And
it's just like speech class. It's just like doing speeches in college. The same thing.
You're so right.
You prep for it and then you just let it go.
Don't start.
Sorry. And it just comes out, and you hope it comes out the way that you planned it.
You know, it's interesting because I have thought about that as well, and I suck at public speaking and speech class. I was terrible at. I think this is a better teacher for me than that ever was. It's interesting.
I enjoy telling people about something that I'm passionate about. So
I agree.
I guess that's what makes podcasting doable for me.
Right.
So I do it.
And actually, yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And speaking, I forgot about one other piece of feedback I want to read real quick. It's from Becca Fisher, who tweeted at us saying, "Really should sleep or study for my AP test, but I'm too busy listening to the Talk Magic to Me podcast."
Oh God!
Wow. Oh well, Becca, we are sorry.
Oh well, totally worth it. She did
I don't know. The fact that somebody's choosing us over her grades.
That's a compliment. That's the biggest compliment.
Yeah.
And honestly,
you're distracting me from studying for my we're up there with YouTube now. Like we're distracting people from studying with their finals.
And you know, honestly, AP tests are so important, Becca. You know, obviously studying is important, but it's not the world. You can learn from anywhere, so we're glad that you came to us to learn something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All that useless knowledge.
I will say, AP tests, I will tell you that I got out of a class in college because I got a 4 on my macroeconomics AP test. So you can do it. It can help.
I got out of Chem 1 and Writing 1 from my AP test, so...
Of course you took AP Chemistry, Jen.
Yeah. I took no AP test.
Not even English?
No, well, I wasn't an AP... I didn't care about school. Like, I didn't... I was totally I seemed like a student that would care, but I really didn't.
My senior year was only AP classes. I didn't take regular. Every class was AP in my senior year.
I would have died.
I was so stressed. My last 2 months of college, I think I had my last 3 months of high school, I had 3 panic attacks.
Aww. That's terrible.
So stay in school, Becca. Stay in school. Don't become like us.
Use your creativity toward awesome things. That's what we can teach you. Yeah, so that's our episode for today, where we talk about education in the modern world. If you have any comments for us, don't hesitate to write to us via our social media. You can visit us on our website, www.talkmagictome.com. That's the number 2. And on there you can comment on our actual episode. And you can also tweet at us or write on our Facebook wall or connect with us on Tumblr. And we also have a YouTube channel where all our past episodes are, so be sure to go there. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, Podomatic, and iTunes. Podomatic has an Android app now, so you can listen to us on your phone, on your Android. And there's also an app for Apple as well, for the iPhone. And for all you iTunes listeners, when you wish upon 5 stars on iTunes, all your dreams will come true in the form of this podcast. Just remember that. So be sure to rate us with 5 stars. That really helps us out. It helps people. It helps spread the word about the podcast. And if you want to answer our question of the week, be sure also to go to our website and you can comment on there. And give us your feedback because we really want to hear it. We want to read your comments on the show because it's a lot of fun. So yeah, from all of us at Talk Magic to Me, I'm Danielle.
I'm Jen.
And we will talk to you guys next time.